This episode of Nuff Said is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. To get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
Recording has started. Recording has started, Philip Perich.
That's right, Charlie Esser.
And here we are, being recorded. Hi, kids, it's I, Charlie, the Professor Esser, here once again with Superconnectivity. And, of course, my trusty sidekick, my valiant ward, the blue-eyed bomber from the Burg of Pitts. I already said his name, but say it again.
Holy podcasting, Charlie Esser. It's Phil, Filmy, and Perich.
Welcome back, Philip. Okay. So, stuff to talk about. Actually, a lot of Disney Plus stuff, because there was something else that we didn't talk about in the pre-show, but I just remembered we really got to talk about, which is the coming soon. Do you know what's coming soon, Philip?
WandaVision?
WandaVision is coming soon. When soon? How soon? Nobody knows.
Aren't they?
But it is coming soon.
Aren't they hinting it like by the end of the year? Like November, December,
hope so.
I think so.
I don't know why they're not going to release it. There's clearly a Halloween episode.
Yes, that was like my favorite thing from that. What was that? A new trailer, just like them in those Halloween costumes that look like the comic book old Yeah.
Do you think we're gonna get it dropped on Thursday as a surprise drop, where everyone's gonna wake up Thursday morning and there's the first episode?
I don't know. Oh, or what about Friday morning? Because isn't Halloween on a Saturday?
Well, Halloween is on a Saturday. No, I meant like this Thursday, this coming up Thursday, October 1st.
Oh, I don't know.
Because they do like to drop on a Thursday.
That's true.
That is a popular drop date for a lot of these streaming shows right now. And so that's a possibility. It's coming soon. And it would be interesting for it to be something that, that isn't telegraphed, not what we're expecting, but we just wake up one morning and, oh, by the way, here's the new show.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're already hyped. We're already on the edge of our sheets. Freaking Black Widow's gotten pushed back again.
Yep.
Mark my words, was a mistake.
May 2021, so 1 full year after it was supposed to come out.
Which is just ridiculous. And as of today, restaurants are opening up to 75% in Connecticut. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I understand why, but the fact of the matter is things are reopening. Things are coming back. There are going to be theaters open by the end of November, definitely by the time Wonder Woman's out. And I think that it was a mistake for Marvel to move it back, especially to move it back to May.
Yeah, I know.
Just stepping on their own feet. I mean, it does make some sense if you consider the idea that maybe they don't have a lot of pipeline for 2021 yet. Because a lot of stuff had to suspend production.
Yep.
So it's entirely possible that they're also looking at it as like, well, what do we have to fill our slate? Because we had to stop production and everything else, and we have this stuff in the can, but we've had to be postponing it.
I mean, do you think, do they have some kind of deal with the theaters? Because Wonder Woman's going to be big too, but come on, if there's one movie the theaters wanted this year, it was Black Widow. MCU, that's guaranteed profit. I mean, so I don't know. Do they have some kind of deal where they don't want Black Widow until the theaters are like 100% capacity or something?
I'm not sure. Obviously, I don't know because I don't own a theater and I don't work at Disney and I'm not in charge of that. So I really have no idea what their logic is on this.
Because I swear they have to have a deal with the theaters, because I just heard today, I don't know if this number is true, but I heard Mulan, that whole $30 thing on Disney Plus. Yeah. They made, what was it, like 260 million just in the U.S. off of that?
Okay. I had actually been hearing that it was underperforming. So,
okay.
That like the numbers might not be what we think it is.
Oh,
so.
maybe.
I don't know. I wasn't rushing out to Mulan anyway. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to judge whether or not Mulan is performing or not performing because I'm not the target audience. Mulan came out long after I was no longer in the Disney family. I wasn't really that. I wasn't waiting for the next Disney musical.
And I mean,
that was the generation after me.
And I mean, let's face it. I mean, you kind of know what the story is because it's art. I mean, they've done it in animation. This is just live action. I mean,
wow, but it's a different version of the story.
But I'm just saying, Black Widow, you really don't. I mean, you know the character, but you really don't know the story. You know what you're going to get when you walk in there.
And it's a prequel, and there's going to be other things, and that I think is what intrigues me the most about it. Is I think we're going to get a lot of these backstory things, but it also suggests that there's really no reason for it not to be coming out. There can't be anything in it that, I mean, unless something's going to be like, oh, well, now we know the secret, and that secret gets revealed elsewhere, you know, but I don't know. I'm not sure.
From the sounds of it, I think I don't think the one you would think would spoil it the most would be Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I'm pretty sure they said they're going to release that as soon as they're done. They were like 80% done. They just had to do a little bit more filming, and then they were...
Yeah. But then again, that could also be one of those things with them where it is, they had to shut down.
Yeah.
So now the pipeline is broken. So that could be half the problem for Disney Plus too. And
again, where's What If at? I thought they were working on that at home. It's all animated.
Yeah, that's the weirdest part. Is like, What If was like the first thing they announced, and it's the last thing we're getting. And I get the feeling that there is this, and you know what? Now that the more I think about it, the more it has to be pipeline. You know, because I think they kind of realized they had this great hit with Mandalorian, and then they didn't have an immediate good follow-up for it.
Exactly.
And they realized, oh man, we really need to make sure we have our pipeline when we start dropping, because we want to be able to drop so that, you know, basically every other month there's a new thing to watch.
Yeah.
You know, there's a new reason to renew your subscription. You know, some of us are patient, but a lot of people ain't. So there probably are a lot of people that have stepped away from Disney Plus because, you know, there just wasn't something for them to watch there.
Yeah, I think if COVID taught people anything, it's like, you know, it's better to have stuff on the shelf just waiting for the release date rather than, you know, just filming up to the last second.
Yeah. So just finding something that isn't going to be scratchy on the TV. I mean, but this does bring us back to coming soon, WandaVision, which is the thing I did want to speak about, because there is clearly something interesting in there. And probably the most interesting thing, which I've not heard anyone talk about, is Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, being thrown out of some kind of tunnel, possibly a quantum tunnel.
Ooh.
Did you see this? Where there's some kind of thing, and I think it's Wanda like throws her out.
No, I might have missed that.
Yeah, because you just see her like, you see this like boom, and you see her like fly across the field, and then she like comes out of what looks like a big tube kind of thing. You only see it for a second, but then you see, and that's where you realize, oh, it's Monica Rambeau, the adult Monica Rambeau, and she opens her eyes on the ground. And so I'm wondering if there is some kind of a quantum realm thing with this.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
I mean, Cloak and Dagger, you know, the show kind of stole, you know, Monica Rambeau's origin, you know, for her powers. Maybe somehow Wanda gives her powers accidentally.
Well, I mean, there's any number of things. I mean, they could have been experimenting with her with quantum energies in some way. You know, I wonder if we might get a quantum Pym particle origin for her here. That, you know, where they're going to be having her. And it kind of makes it interesting when you think about not Wanda, but Monica's power set being able to convert herself to light, a being of solid light, being maybe uniquely able to traverse the quantum realm by moving as that being of light. That it's not even about shrinking or growing for her. She can actually she's just already quantumized.
Well, I mean, that was the whole thing with Quasar when he could like teleport with the bands, and he would go through that's how he would pop into the quantum zone, and then he would pop back out wherever he was going.
Yeah, so it's an interesting question, but I do find that interesting that we are getting Monica Rambeau in this, that we do see. There are a couple people we see in this. The other person is a person that is only called, if you see the closed captioning, as Agnes. And she's the wacky next-door neighbor, the best friend of Wanda, and everyone's thinking, oh, Agnes is that Agatha Harkness. Of course, people complain that, oh, she's not young. And I said, they've been Aunt Maying Agatha Harkness in the comics for years. So, you know, it makes sense for her to be young. But they also make that interesting point that we get in our video and again, Halloween episode, Agnes is in the car dressed as a witch, wink, wink, and Vision comes up to her and she says, am I dead? He says, no. Why would you ask that? And she says, because you are. Which opens that thing that both the Vision is dead and Agatha Harkness is dead. And I guess maybe there's this idea that maybe Wanda's going into the quantum realm. Maybe, you know what she may be doing? She's trying to repair the Infinity Stones.
Maybe
she's trying to recreate the Mind Stone or go into something to find where these stones are. And, you know, for what it's worth, there may even be S.H.I.E.L.D. interest in locating these stones when she says, I'd like to, I think I can recreate the stones. It's like, well, isn't that interesting?
Or what if it was even intentional? I mean, remember, Thanos destroyed those stones when she had been snapped away. I mean, what if they're kind of like, what if their energy is kind of like, what if she's like permeated with the stone energy now?
Yeah, I mean, that is an entirely, that's a possibility. What? You have a thought? What's your thought, Phil?
What if instead of Master Pandemonium's pieces of his soul, what if like what if she creates her kids out of part of the stones?
Ooh, that would be interesting. You know, there's an interesting other side aspect of this that we hadn't actually considered. If I recall correctly, the way that officially they were able to have a baby.
Oh yeah, didn't Agatha Harkness have to?
No.
Tell her.
There was a whole thing. No, it was an issue with. They may have retconned that later, but in the original story, if I recall correctly, it had to do with them communicating with the Eternals, and that there was something that happens to Vision where he gets to be a real boy because of Eternal technology. And what if there's
Eternals?
Going to be a reference to the Eternals in here?
Eternals is coming.
The Eternals are coming this summer.
I mean, they're pushed back now, but originally I think Eternals was supposed to come out like February next year or something. So maybe that's why they were like, oh, let's get WandaVision in here by the end of the year.
Yeah, and you know what? I can totally see, again, pipeline issues, because I don't think they were done filming Eternals when everything worked. Because I know, and I don't know the guy. The guy, he was, I think he was on The Daily Show, and he's the comedian. He got all jacked up. He's the,
because
Indian American. Pakistani. I don't know if he's Pakistani or Indian, but
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name yet because I remember people were saying, man, he has more time to work out, so now he's even more jacked than he even originally was.
But the thing is that he got himself jacked, and then he got locked down, and now he's just been in his basement lifting weights the whole time. Yeah. So now he's like looking like Joe Piscopo. So oh boy, I hope. You'll worry, but no, we love Joe. I love Joe Piscopo. He's crazy, but he's harmless because he's just an actor. Crazy actors are fine because they're just actors, and they can't really hurt anybody. They just, unless he like picks them up because he is a very big guy. But good old Joe Piscopo. But so. That's an interesting thing. If there is going to be an Eternals time, if there is going to be her going into the quantum realm, maybe even to sort of find, because remember, it's the Time Stone that brings the Vision back after he's originally destroyed.
Yes.
So maybe she wants to use the quantum realm also maybe to find the Vision and bring him back.
Or maybe that's where the time stone, when it got evaporated, maybe that's where it was drawn to, because I mean they used that quantum realm to time travel in Endgame. So
yeah, so I am wondering, and go back and watch that, and also fun idea. There's an interesting concept in that with the television tie-in and the way that light works on a classic TV, which also uses a vacuum, which also uses a tube.
Yes.
So there's a lot. Who this might be? They might give Captain Marvel Facades old origin. He's a villain. He's a obscure Fantastic Four villain.
Yes, I remember.
Where he basically becomes, he stabs a television camera and then becomes. Because, dang, what is with this world that you just stab a television camera? And it's one of these things where it's like, okay, first off, that's weird. Second off, why aren't more people stabbing television cameras?
That's like Electro. He was working on power lines when it got struck by lightning, and all of a sudden he's got electric powers.
You got to think that there is just a lot of it goes into that latent mutant gene. Like no one wants to say they're a mutant, but it's like clearly you're something.
I mean, that's what DC was doing, like the late 80s, early 90s. I mean, when they came up with the metagene, they're like, yeah, if you're in like a traumatic enough accident, if you have the metagene, there's a chance you might get superpowers.
Yeah, which again, it's that weird thing where, like I say, the reason why there's no OSHA in the Marvel Universe is because people are willing to risk it. They're like, yeah, it's like I probably die of cancer, but that 1% chance, superpowers, it's worth it. It's the lottery, Trust me, if people could get if the COVID gave you superpowers, people would not be wearing masks everywhere, No, they'd be like, yes, come on, superpowers. But that is that. So yeah, it's an interesting thing what they're doing with that. It's going to be also interesting to see, especially if S.H.I.E.L.D. is involved.
Yes.
How this is going to relate to the S.H.I.E.L.D. we just saw, where they also have quantum realm technology, because we saw that that's what Fitz developed.
Mm-hmm.
Again, before Ant-Man and the others did, because that does take place before Endgame. That the stories of the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. takes place in the space between, it's 1 year after the snap. So it's in that space before, back when, what's his name is still in hiding. So it's all it's interesting whatever they're going to be doing. So we're going to have to see. But in the meantime, we're also going to be getting a Nick Fury series coming to Disney Plus. Again, very interesting. And I wonder if, so there's a couple aspects to this. One is we do see Nick Fury at the end of, which one was that where he's on the spaceship?
Spider-Man Far From Home.
So that was at the end of Far From Home. Now, one question we have there is that Sword. Is, are we going to get something with Sword and S.H.I.E.L.D.? Are we going to see any of our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. coming back? Are we maybe going to see Mockingbird back? Because remember, before this, Nick Fury was under deep cover going after Hydra agents.
Oh.
That was the last we saw of him before the recent return. So it's going to be neat to see what Fury's story was because I wonder if it is going to be this is what Fury was doing between the last time we saw him and the next time we saw him.
Maybe.
Or is it going to be this is what Fury, Nick Fury, director of Sword? Is that what it's going to be? Is it going to be Nick Fury, director of Sword? We don't know yet.
Unless we're going to get a secret invasion at some point. 'Cause I mean, supposedly it looked like they were working with Fury, but we did have Skrulls running around as Nick Fury and Maria Hill.
Yeah, and you also had him being kind of out of sorts in his little pseudo Tahiti.
Mm-hmm.
So there is that question: are they, are the Skrulls friend or foe? Because as has been said, the Skrulls, they're ostensibly good guys, but are they? are they really going to be good guys? Because they were a warrior race just like everyone else. You know, and I don't think we're going to get the Kree Skrull Unity Squad that we seem to be seeing in the comic books right now. So it just really opens up, what are they going to be?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the new Nick Fury season is interesting, especially with the ending of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Because I honestly feel they aren't abandoning Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That is as much the MCU as anyone else. You know, and now they're going to be able to have them be much more integrated in the same way that Falcon and Winter Soldier are going to be, in the same way that WandaVision is going to be.
Well, I mean, and they're scrambling. Well, I shouldn't say scrambling, but they're reassessing stuff, because I know they did say, you know, Chadwick Boseman was supposed to be a big part of their plans going forward. So without him, they were going to have to figure stuff out. And
well, yeah, and that is going to be a difficult thing, I'm sure. You know, I mean, honestly, yeah, I'm sure they were absolutely planning on having Chadwick Boseman be the new Tony Stark.
Oh, yeah.
And now they just lost their Tony Stark. They lost 2 Tony Starks in 1 year. That's pretty rough for Disney, you know. Now, obviously, you know, there's all the talk about Shuri, and that's a real possibility, and I don't think anyone is going to cry a river over it. I don't know. You know, I'm not worried about that right now. I'm sure they'll make the right choice. You know, but beyond that, they also have a lot of other properties that they now can look at and reassess, you know. Mm-hmm. Because for what it's worth, Black Panther 2 wasn't coming out until, what, 2022?
Oh, yeah, it was a while, but I think they were saying, you know, he might have been like dropping into other people's movies and stuff, you know, like those cameos. Yeah.
And now they might, you know, now they're going to have to. First off, in that situation, then Shuri is very easy to drop in.
Oh, yeah.
And they can really start building up Shuri as this new character, you know. Maybe she will be the new Black Panther. That is the question on everyone's lips right now. But, so I don't think, you know, the loss of Chadwick Boseman is heavy on everyone's hearts, and it is also a profit issue for Disney. So, you know, they may not want to touch it yet at all, and they're going to say, well, okay, so if we're going to have a connective person, who else do we have for connections? Mm-hmm. And they are kind of in a rough spot, because he was set up to be their connection. Mm-hmm. They're kind of out of a connection now. And really, ironically, you know who they have left for connections right now. The one person that could easily slip in and slap out of stories in a lot of different ways as a connector. Phil.
Oh, Coulson.
Agent Coulson. Yes. And it is interesting that they may not have planned that, but it is, when you look at it, it's like, oh, you know what? There is a guy who we could have just show up. He's going to have the ability to throw down if need to, because he is. I mean, it might be weird for people like, wait, why is Phil Coulson suddenly a superhero? But he kind of is, you know. And these Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. may wind up coming back just because they do need some kind of connective tissue to the past. Mm-hmm. And so bringing in May, bringing in Phil, bringing in Nick Fury, definitely. But all these other characters into the story certainly could be a real possibility, you know? Mm-hmm. Even rotating it just to have that connection. It's a possibility. We'll have to see what they decide to do. You know, I know I am very excited about whatever we're going to do with WandaVision. I'm looking forward to Falcon and Winter Soldier when that gets completed. And, you know...
Loki,
they just added a Star Wars villain is going to be in Loki now. But maybe not Kang. We don't know. Because the guy who is supposed to play Kang says, yeah, I've heard I'm playing Kang too.
Oh, yep, yeah, he was on Jimmy Fallon last night, did not confirm or deny. He's like, oh, yeah, I hear that too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which actually suggests maybe he's not. I mean, in all honesty. I mean, it is possible that, if he's going to say, I heard I might be playing Kang, probably he isn't going to be playing Kang. Although that would be the perfect bait and switch as well. Mm-hmm. Never doubt that it couldn't be a perfect bait and switch. So, a lot of possibilities there. We've certainly run the Kang train into the ground, and we're all very excited about the Kang train, and we'll have to see what they decide to do with it. Over on the DC side, Wonder Woman has kept her spot, so good for Wonder Woman. She's going to be December. She's going to be the Christmas movie. So far. And hopefully, things will be open up a bit. If people will just wear their freaking masks, maybe we can, Wear the mask, we can all start getting back to normal. Don't wear the mask, we're going to be like this forever. So, wear your freaking mask, people, please. It's not hard. You get to pretend you're a superhero. The Illuminati can't use facial recognition on you. All of these pluses. Why don't you want to wear a mask? Anyway. But that's a public service announcement about masks. But in the meantime, Wonder Woman is going to be our canary in the coal mine here. We're going to all go see Wonder Woman. And first off, see if it's any good. Which, hopefully, it's a DC movie, and who knows where they're going now. Yeah. Because apparently they're completely reshooting the Snyder show. That was the Snyder show. It's not a Snyder Cut anymore. Because if they're giving you an extra $100 million to reshoot it, there wasn't a Snyder Cut. There wasn't a Snyder film. There was an idea he had at one time. And for what it's worth, I think E-Man's movie reviews made a very strong point about this, which is that this can't be a good DC film.
I mean, if to have a prayer of a good film and you have to add like how many more hours of content, it's like,
yeah. But the thing is, after all this time, if this is not a perfect film, it will be savaged. Mm-hmm. Because he's had all this time. And I think anything short of perfection is going to be awful.
But
isn't it Cavill's not regrowing the mustache for him. So.
Isn't it interesting, Charlie Esser, that they put out this movie and then now they want a second shot at it after Avengers Endgame?
Yeah, well, because Avengers Endgame.
Again, they always make their mistakes, then they see what Marvel does, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we should have did it like that."
But they shouldn't. That's the thing.
I know.
They gotta do their own thing.
That would be a better idea. But they want to chase that. They want to be Marvel where Marvel's at right now, and it's like you didn't put the work in, kids. You got to show me your work.
DC's most successful properties, they tend to not be things that Marvel does. What was that? The Dark Knight trilogy.
Oh yeah,
that was not in any way Marvel, and it was very successful. But then they just tried to graft that onto Superman, and it, made its money back. It was okay, and a lot of people like it. Tyler loves it. So
that's what we were.
Well, that's what argue that.
We were talking last night. That's what I said. You know what the problem with Man of Steel was? I finally realized it. There was like no Clark Kent in it. He was wandering around. It was basically Kal-El wandering the Earth. I mean, he didn't put on the glasses and become Clark Kent until the last minute of that movie.
And you know what? That's the new 52.
Yeah.
That's new 52 Superman. And I think it's sort of like, when they kind of had, for what it's worth, it's when they had, what's his name, Nick Cage as Superman with a mullet. And it was, now, perfect, yeah, at the moment, Superman has a mullet, but maybe we should be thinking, wait, do we want it to look like Superman now? Or should we consider that Superman is, after decades of being one way, now has a mullet? Should we steer into the mullet? And I think maybe what it is like, I think kind of DC's problem is steering into whatever their flavor is right at the moment that the movie's coming out. And that maybe isn't their best choice, Mm-hmm. Maybe you should, first off, not have the movies ape the comic books. which I think is actually, this is the thing. I think what Marvel has done well is the movies and the comics are two completely different things. They rhyme, but they don't follow what the comics do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can use they use title. Basically, they use titles and inspiration from the comics, but they're going to mix it up. You know, they take a lot of ideas, they put it in the blender, they hit prepay, and you know they Ferrignoize it, and they make something really good.
And like I was saying about the whole Clark Kent Superman thing, it's like all the Marvel characters. I mean, even their most powerful characters, Thor is more human in those movies than any. Do you care about any of the DC characters? Do you like?
Well, I don't like DC.
Well,
I
mean,
DC,
from like a cinematics viewpoint, can you relate to any of those characters? Do you care about any of those characters on like a human? You know, it's like.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
I told you, Marvel writes the stories. They give you these human characters, these human moments. You know, throw in some laughs. I mean, if they write good stories, DC's basically just like, look at these nice shiny things we have. Look at the explosions and the fighting.
You know, but that can be a thing too. And I'm not going to say that that's a bad film because you know,
but you can't.
People loved 300.
Yeah, but you can't build a connected universe on that.
Probably not, but you know,
that's what they want. But it's not going to happen.
Well, you know, I mean, that's the thing. We're getting Wonder Woman. Maybe Wonder Woman 84 is going to be great. Like I said, I definitely feel the Linda Carter vibe with it. I think they're very much leaning into that. I think they want this to be a Wonder Woman 77. But first off, they wanted to make it a little more up to date and have like better computers, you know.
Although Linda Carter's got to have a cameo somewhere because I think when they did the panel with DC Fandom, she appeared on screen with the rest of them, so she's got to be in there somewhere.
I'm sure she's there. So maybe she's Hera, maybe she's Aphrodite, maybe she's the goddess Diana. Who knows? Maybe she's Hecate. Ooh, that'd be nice if they do a nice magic subplot in it because you know over in Justice League Dark, Hecate's a big character. And by the way, still loving Justice League Dark, even if they did have, you know, I mean, it's a bit cliche and delightful, but you know, the whole power of magic is belief, because we believe, and how our belief influences reality. And now that we're in the Upside Down Man's universe, we're influencing your reality, and even you are bound by the belief that you aren't this, you know. That you think you're infinite and all powerful, but really you're bound by belief as well. And then, you know, oh no, he shoots a laser beam and he kills Constantine.
Oh, yeah, I read about that.
He'll be dead forever now.
I just wonder if maybe they're like killing Constantine off in the main continuity and like bringing him back, kind of like what they did when the book was in Vertigo and basically have him in his own little. You know, really didn't interact with many superheroes back, you know.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? But it's like, oh, no. You know, aside from the fact that they telegraphed that he was going to die because they actually have a whole thing. It was like, oh, yeah, my card is always the fool because they have a whole thing where he's with Madame Xanadu and, you know, and he's doing the cards and they're always the Constantine card is the fool.
Yeah.
Fool. And the very last one, no, this time it was death. Bum, bum, bum.
I mean, one, it's comics. Two, it's magic. I mean, come on.
Yes. And also the death card does not mean literal death. The tower means actual, like, tragedy and undoing. Death actually just means transformation, which is probably what this death is too. So again, not dead forever, but now Constantine's going to transform.
No.
Transformers. Constantine in disguise. Okay. Yeah, but yeah. So that's that. That's what DC's doing. Do you want to talk some comics?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to talk about Doctor Doom.
All right. Yes.
Issue 7. And man, the jumping around and the length between basically, I had no idea where I was when I was coming in this. Just know that Dr. Doom was in exile. He's coming back. He's a big jerk. He has all of his most loyal people around him, including, hey, look at Kristoff. Look at him. He's got a beard now. He's all adult stuff. So
look at little Billy Butcher Jr. Look at him.
Yeah, they've got they're drawing him this way now. Maybe if they have him reconnect with Cassie Lang, they'll make him young again. No, I just grew up the beard because I have great beard genes. Because remember, he and Cassie Lang were an item for a while.
Fantastic Four, yeah.
Yep, that was cool. And we see that Dr. Doom does have more than one mask, so apparently this is his fancy mask for judging people. And some idiot gave Doom the ultimate nullifier. And then we have this whole thing where he has no real relationships, which is an interesting point in this, which is like, oh yeah, you don't have real relationships, Doom, because you're a freaking cluster B personality. And that's why nobody likes you, Dr. Doom. They kind of say that the Doom's theoretical child is dead, or did not. I don't know if that's true. That may have just been what she told him to get rid of him. I can't remember now because I know that there was something with that. But if they're just writing it out, then I think they're just writing it out.
Yeah, I don't know if she's told him one way or another. But I mean, I think it was still early on. But I don't know if they just did that off panel, just that they're like, yeah, we're not coming back to that.
Yeah, and then Doom intimidates the new king of Latveria and basically has him cut off his own face because he's like just that evil, and this is what the king of Latveria must look like, is have a freaking Deadpool face. And then he like throws him off the thing, says, "Can you fly?" No, apparently not. Yada yada. But then he has his little fantasy children come and say, "Look, Father, we made ourselves like you. Are we now fit to rule Latveria?" He's like, "No! I am undone by my own bad behavior and such."
No.
Meanwhile, back in the black hole where Blue Marvel was sent to try and contain it, because Dr. Doom said, "This is how you will do it, and certainly it will work, because I am Doom and I am wrong." And of course it doesn't work, but they don't. The world isn't destroyed by it, but also Blue Marvel is trapped there. But who comes to his rescue when things are at their darkest? Who do you call? Do you call some dropout, Phil?
No, you go with the superior ending.
Yes, Otto Octavius from the alternate dimension where Doom is like a beloved figure, and even then, Doom knows, hey, I can't handle this. Get me Octavius. Dun, 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 dun. Yay! So Otto Octavius comes and saves the day. Yay! Next episode. You want to talk about Daredevil, or do you want to save that for another show?
No, we could talk Daredevil. No.
So tell me what happened. I did not get to it this week, and I was trying to get through all my books, and I could not get to it. But tell me what happens in Daredevil.
I mean, it's basically him getting booked, and then Foggy gets sentencing or whatever pushed up. And of course, Mayor Wilson Fisk has to hold a press conference, Mm-hmm. Yes, I've let these vigilantes run around, but now I see how wrong that was, Yeah. Because he even mentions, he's like, our elected officials are taking a hard stance on our teenage heroes. Now I think we need to take a harder stand on the rest of them too.
Mm-hmm. I think that's true.
Yeah.
You tell him, Fisky.
Yeah. But so I guess with all the things they've been Matt's been working on with trying masked heroes in court. They can't really hold Daredevil in jail, so I guess he's basically out on bail.
Okay, yeah, well, yeah, he's allowed on bail. I mean, although again, okay, sure.
And then we see Matt takes off. Foggy calls in help. Who could he be calling? And then we see Daredevil taking out some thugs at the waterfront until who shows up for their meeting? Iron Man, Tony Stark.
Oh, Iron Man. Yay, Iron Man. What does he tell Daredevil to do?
Well, Daredevil was called him because he wanted to ask a favor because they go back to Tony's place. And they're basically talking about the Stromwells, wanting to buy out Hell's Kitchen. And Matt basically asks him, he's like, I want you to, make an obscenely higher bid for Hell's Kitchen than the Stromwells. So they basically outbid them. They'll lose interest. They'll leave. And he's like, and then, once they're gone and lose interest, I want you to sell the neighborhood back to the residents for like next to nothing.
Yeah, because, that's all his money's good for.
That's what Tony says. You just want me to just throw away billions of dollars, and Matt's like, it's not throwing it away. It's you're
doing what? What's he doing? What's he doing, Matt? He's preserving a neighborhood that isn't even the neighborhood you grew up in anymore. Trying to hold on to the past, man. That's a fool's errand. Move to Brooklyn. Move to Newark. Come to Newark. We need a superhero.
Well, he says Matt says it's the right thing to do. You're giving people home security, not throwing away billions. If you don't do this, everyone will be displaced. And they're standing in the middle of Tony's lab. He's like, normal people don't live like this. He's like, you call me street level because Tony called him like a street level here. He's like, you called me street level earlier. I called people level.
Yeah.
He's like, you guys saved the planet. That's good. We all need a planet to live on. He's like, but there's a lot more to do. So I'm assuming that's where Chip Zdarsky's taking this. Matt's going to be more for the the common man now.
Hero of the people.
Yes.
Well, okay. That's great, and that it's all good. It's all good. And yeah, I like that as a way to look at it. I just think it's really presumptuous to tell Tony Stark, hey, use your billions of dollars to fight these other billionaires for this whole purpose, and then it's not like Tony's opposed to charitable things, but also it's like, dude, is that all I am to you?
Yeah.
It's like it's just like when you ask, because if you remember, Hulk always gets mad when you just want him to lift and move heavy things.
Oh yeah.
He always that's a recurring trope. And this is like the billionaire version of that, where, just lift this heavy object and move it over there, would you please?
But
what are you gonna do?
But Tony's like, oh, you're going after billionaires now, and Matt's like, I'm doing what I've always done, going after injustice. It's just that a lot of it is higher than I could see before. Mm-hmm. And then of course Tony he's offering him upgrades.
Well, yeah.
So I don't know if that's
what he does. It's like you go to Tony Stark, you don't want the free armor upgrades. He's like, hey, why don't I give you this thing and this and this and this, and how about some repulsor rays, sonic cannon? Mm-hmm. What do you want?
And then once Matt gets back to Foggy, Foggy's like, are you sure it's like a good idea right now to be going out beating up thugs on the waterfront? You should be helping prepare your defense and stuff. And then Matt's like, well, I'm trying to like settle all my affairs in case I lose.
Yeah, but also, doesn't he have a closed head trauma still?
I don't know.
I mean, how many hits you going to take to this head, Daredevil?
I know. Well, he wasn't taking hits on the waterfront, and he was even like, I don't know if it was like practice, because he was basically taking them out as compassionately as possible.
I mean, I'm sure he does that. It's just, I don't know. I did flip through it a bit, and I saw that we have Typhoid Mary back.
Yes, yeah. I mean, she was basically the nun in this church, but yeah, I mean, Kingpin goes to see her, and I don't know if those two are getting back together, because...
yeah, sure. Why not?
Oh, but then at the end they show, the help Foggy was calling in, the legal help, Matt's ex-girlfriend, Kirsten McDuffie.
Oh, hi, Kirsten.
And then, I guess next issue, Spider-Man's back.
Oh, good for Spider-Man. He's always popular. So, I got 3 books here, all with, speaking of, when you call on the Hulk to move something heavy. What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about Immortal Juggernaut, Maestro, or Immortal She-Hulk?
You pick. I read Immortal She-Hulk and Maestro, so...
Okay. Yes. Juggernaut is good. Just a quick item on that. basically he's in this thing where he's like, he's being like a decent person again. Now he's like, I'm working for damage control. I'm tearing down buildings because after the Coati invasion, like New York, you got to tear it down before they can rebuild it. And there's a lot of squatters there. And then we find we're going to give him a sidekick in this. And if you had a character like Juggernaut, who was kind of an irresistible force, what would be a great character to pair him with? If you had a character who was an arrestable force?
An immovable object?
Essentially, yes. So they pair him up with this character named D-Cell. This young woman, lab accident, superpowers, and her power is she, like, saps kinetic energy out of you.
Oh.
So she slows everything down. So I thought that was cute. I liked it. There's a whole thing here with like where he's stuck in limbo for a while, and he's like, "Oh, I hate limbo." So like 6 months before this, because I guess magic had ripped out the crimson gem of Cyttorak and banished him to limbo, and he's like, "Yeah." So I had to go get back and get my gem back. And
I mean, that's basically what everyone does to him because you really can't overpower him. The most people do is basically either like send them away or trap him in something. Yeah.
Yeah, and they make references to that too. So let's talk Immortal She-Hulk, which I love. Immortal She-Hulk is great. We go all the way back to her origins, and even get the neck scarf right. You gotta love that. That is that attention to detail. Getting her shot in the back, yada yada yada. And then that was the first time she died. But then, because of Bruce's blood, that's what ties her to the Green Door.
Yep.
And she comes back, and she meets Brian Banner, and we go over all the times she has died. That first time, then Thanos, and this is neat, she's fighting with this character named Tantrum, who is not a character just made up for this one time, but yeah. And there's a neat little exchange with, Wolverine, where he's like, "Oh, you're just jealous because we have Krakoa." And it's like, no one's jealous of you plant X-Men on Krakoa. Okay? And it really is. It's like, you're just mad because you can't have it. It's like, what are you talking about? It's like, no one's even saying that, Wolverine. I think you're a little paranoid. And I think he is. But basically, you have her talking about immortality because she realizes she can't die, that she is an immortal She-Hulk now. And they have her talking to, here's where she meets Brian Banner. And then the last time she dies is when she meets good old
Sam Stern?
Sam Stern, yes. But of course, before that, we have this whole thing with Thor and her, and she's in her Hulk form, and just about how, I can still think clearly, but, it's the words I can't make, but it's easier for me to talk like this because it's harder for Jen to talk like this. And I guess, so Galactus is dead again for this week.
Well, yeah, Thor killed him in, what was that, Thor 6, yeah.
Yeah, that'll take about as well as Constantine's death.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and then we got, evil Sam Stern saying, "I control the door and I can make the door stop. Ha ha. I'll make it red and then you can't go through anymore because I'm cool like that. And don't die again, Jen." Which, we know that's going to end poorly for poor Sam.
Oh, yeah.
Because, someone's going to go down there. This guy. And he does not like to have people say, "You can't come through this door."
The Maestro, yes.
This is the first. This is Maestro 2, and we get a lot of introspection here. World's messed up. The poor animals didn't even know why they were dying. Then he's at Washington D.C. sees the little kid. Someone survived, but then he goes down, and there's apparently the bomb shelters underneath D.C. where Machine Man and like the descendants of the
government officials,
the,
yeah.
the government employees who survived. And then they saw the different places. There's Dystopia, where the Maestro lives. Oh, who could the Maestro be? That's left open. And I actually thought this was interesting because we also get to the one place that isn't a radioactive wasteland where they're growing food, which makes you wonder what they're eating in Dystopia, but we'll get to that later. Mm-hmm. And then when they talk about going, for a minute there, I honestly thought Rick Jones was going to be the Maestro. Because we do get old Rick in this, which is cool. And we have his daughter and all this kind of stuff. And
no, I think that's his granddaughter, maybe.
Oh, granddaughter. Well, she's named, what's her name?
Janice.
Janice, right. Okay. Yeah, so that's his granddaughter, and, we have the magistrate to take him to see the current Maestro.
They did surprise me with this, who the Maestro was, yeah.
Yes, it's been an age. The Incredible Hercules. So you think he's all nuts or what?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, for what it's worth, everyone's surviving, so I don't know what the horror is. It doesn't look like Dystopia's that bad of a place compared to everywhere else on the world. But
I mean, unless Hercules, unless he's gone insane or
yeah, it's probably crazy Herc. In the meantime, we get a nice little flashback with relics with Rick Jones's granddaughter when she's a little kid, wandering through, and we get to find out, gee, how did Rick get the Hammer of Thor into his cavern previously? And we find out that apparently Janice is worthy.
I saw this, and all I could picture is Peter David in my head listening to our podcast, because I know you asked that. I think you asked that a couple weeks ago. I was just curious to see Peter David going, "Okay, dumbass, I'll give you a page."
There we go. So that's how that worked. That's good. I'm going to have a nice little Rick and Maestro meet up. Because, best friends forever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised Wolverine hasn't grown himself back yet. Although I guess Guy is letting him rest finally,
I mean, I wonder if if you destroy all the organic matter off that skeleton, if he can't grow back?
I don't know. I think they've done it before where they have. That's the thing. It's like the explanation we got in Hickman's run was that basically the reason why he always comes back is because he's basically supercharged by the spirit of Gaia.
Yeah.
That, he is the most likely to survive a mutant. And Gaia basically says, no, so long as I live, you live, and no matter how burnt away you are, I'll bring you back.
Yeah, but is Gaia in any shape? Because they can barely grow food in only in a certain spots on the planet.
Planets are growing, so Gaia's there. That's the thing, and
barely.
Gaia is bigger than just that. Gaia is an elder goddess, meaning that she's associated with the planet Earth, but I really get the feeling like Gaia is more than just one planet. Oh, by the way, I love that one thing in She-Hulk when she's talking to Brian, and Brian's talking about how hell he understands. Hell has hierarchy. It's actually pretty normal compared to this place. So.
I know I know that I found that interesting. Yeah, the underplace is below hell. So Banner's father's so evil. He's not even in hell. He's below hell.
Yes. Well, he got stuck there.
Yes.
So not that he, because he says he had been to hell. He was in hell.
Yeah.
He was originally in a hell, and then he got out of hell, and then after he got knocked down again, that's what put him in the deeper place. So. It's all very interesting. I do like that. It is a lot of fun.
But yeah,
I'm sorry.
I was going to say no. I think I said last week. I just think the whole Red Door thing. I think they're just going to use that for maybe when Al Ewing's done, they're going to be like, oh yeah, Red Door's in place. The mutants aren't immortal anymore. You can't come back. When you die, you die. Sure.
Nah. Because everyone comes back. That's the thing. It's like
I know. But I think they're gonna cut off this avenue. They're not gonna make it as easy. I don't think.
Yeah, well, it'll be this thing. Well, they just won't kill the Hulk every 5 weeks.
Exactly.
It's going to be, well, actually, now he's harder to kill because now he's not going to the door. He's not going through the door anymore. Mm-mm. And that's really what it is. Oh, that's how they'll do it. They'll lock the door from the other end.
Mm.
They'll lock Stearns inside. He's like, no, I'm in the below place, and I can't get out possibly ever again.
Exactly.
It'd be impossible for me to get out now. Totally impossible.
Until someone decides to bring me back.
Yeah, till next week. Okay, but yeah, so they'll do something with that. Vampire the Masquerade is still a really good book. Highly recommend it. If you played Vampire the Masquerade, you would love to read this book. If you didn't play Vampire the Masquerade, I think you still might enjoy this book if you like the idea of vampires and rules and society. And this is actually one of the best scenes in it because they accidentally kill a drug dealer by the name of Andy Jack, who's like just the worst drug dealer, sells rotten drugs to poor kids, all this kind of stuff, and they kill him. And then you find out that, but he also was like the only person taking care of his little 4-year-old cousin because his sister's a doped out drug addict, and the kid's father is no good either. So it's like, yeah, you're going to want to only kill bad guys, but every bad guy's got a family.
Yeah.
So you're not going to have this purity of, I will get the bad people only. So I thought that was a really brilliant thing they did, and there's a lot of good in this. And then our entire group of other vampires that were like the straggler vampires all get slaughtered by freaking hunters at the end. So it's like, whoa!
Uh-huh.
Okay, so much for that story. Except for the one that has the baby face trait. So it's like, it gets interesting. So, by the way, spoilers for that. 2 issues in, and it's completely restructured the whole cast. So, yeah, but that was a lot of fun. Okay, that is Vampire the Masquerade Numero 2. All right, Philip. Anything else you want to talk about this week?
I think that's it for me.
Yeah, that's it for me, too. So you know what, Philip? Do you know what's always a good thing when you're done listening to a podcast and you say, I think I got everything, but I'm not sure because I have really substandard headphones? Well, in that case, Philip, what you should do is go over to tweakedaudio.com. Yes, tweakedaudio.com, and use the coupon code Southgate to get a discount on really great top-of-the-line head audio equipment, sound things for your ears that they will sell you happily at a nice discounted price. And then another thing you can use that coupon code for a discount is go to Hunt-A-Killer. Yes, huntakiller.com, where essentially you can get an escape room delivered to your house once a month. Michelle Gray, she's trying to crack a cold case. She needs your help. And they're going to be adding in a Blair Witch-themed Hunt-A-Killer story. So be on the lookout for that. And again, use the coupon code Southgate for a discount on that price. And if none of that interests you, or if it does, but you still have extra money to spend, you know where you can spend that extra money, Philip?
You could buy Pod Life the book.
You could buy the podcast, the book, at Amazon.com.
Yes.
And before you do that, go down to the show notes. We got a secret link in our show notes that's going to take you right to Amazon. And here's the thing. It doesn't do anything except take you to Amazon, but through the magic of cookies, it says, you were listening to our show first. So they're going to acknowledge us with every dollar you spend there. And that's a positive for us. So it costs you nothing. It helps us out. You can check out Pod Life, the book, which is a great book written by the good folks here at Southgate Media Group about why they podcast, how they podcast, and who they podcast. And that is interesting.
Make it rain.
All right. Philip, if anyone does any of these things, or they do none of these things, but still want to talk to you, how can they do that?
If you want the easiest way to get a hold of me or any other member of the Capes and Lunatics, email capesandlunatics@gmail.com or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And you can find us all over social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can see Charlie Esser's beautiful face on YouTube. Our YouTube channel, go subscribe. You can find links to all of that at Linktree, linktr.ee/capes-and-lunatics.
Ring that bell.
Ding, ding.
And Lilith Hellfire, next week, we're going to talk Sabrina, number 3. We're going to talk Rise of Ultraman, number 1. So I've been saving these for you. And in the meantime, if you'd like to write to me in that old-fashioned email way, the way I'm Oz and Posmo said, say, dude, you should have given us a spoiler about that Vampire the Masquerade twist at the end. Do so at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. Of course, follow me on the Twitter as I live tweet things when I feel like it. Possibly the new Nick Fury show. Who knows? At Charlie Esser, that's CHARLIE. ESSER. Look for the 2 E's in the middle. For what, Maz?
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Maz. All right, dear friends, you have listened to another wonderful hour of Super Connections and Connectedly Super Things. Please super connect with us again next week. Okay? Good night.
Good night.
I didn't know how to end. Super Connectivity.
You did fine.
I did something. Anyway. I hope Lilith feels better. You should send her chicken soup.
You should probably put alcohol on it.
Alcohol cures everything. Even a hangover.
I'm putting that on your tombstone.
Yes. If only I drank more alcohol.